Well, we've only got to look at the fans out there on that panorama this afternoon to know that they all love him. And there's the Marlborough flag starting to really wave at the moment. The Holden Dealer team flags wave at the moment. So they're expecting the Peter Brock victory, which should come very shortly. Mike Raymond, it's back to you.
Thank you, Patrick. Dropping down into the boat. Peter Brock in the Dayglow red and white Commodore. Heading down to Forest Elbow. And he's in good shape, as he always is here at Mount Panorama. Doesn't back off the pace, keeps it up a solid pace. Probably try to determine how David Parsons is going in the rear gunner department, whether or not he can get by Jones and they can have their last hurrah at Mount Panorama with a 1-2 for the dealer team and their Commodores.
Yes, I'm sure they'd like to finish that way. Peter Brock. He's a man with a sense of humour, but a man with a very serious attitude towards racing. And if he can accomplish that 1-2, I'm sure that it'd satisfy him tremendously.
Well, there's no way Jones is going to quit. He's driven Formula One Grand Prix cars with all sorts of injuries, but oh, dearie me, in for a pit stop, is it, with Alan Jones? I don't think they have too much of a buffer over David Parsons. No, it wouldn't appear that way. And the Jones car is into the pits. As it sits in the pits, Harvey and David Parsons' car now moves up into second.
Some frantic work going on under the bonnet. It doesn't look as though it's the brakes they're attending to.
Well, if they were hoping for a 1-2, it's coming good for them in the final couple of laps of this race. By our estimation, about 2 laps remaining for the James Hardy 1000. And a 1-2 certainly now on the cards for the dealer team. Peter Brock, Larry Perkins, John Harvey and David Parsons. Let's go to Colin Young in the pits.
Frantic work on the Alan Jones car. Mick Webb, the chief mechanic, has just got the engine running again. They're bolting down the bonnet and Jones is ready to go out to complete the final laps in the Kmart Commodore. Back to you, Mike.
Thank you, Colin. Well, that was bad luck indeed. An unexpected pit stop, and it must have been pretty bad, whatever it was. Here he comes. Headlights blaring. 0-5. Just taking it quietly. And you wouldn't want to bet that maybe Peter Brock has just eased off the pace for the last hurrah at Bathurst. If they are going to have a 1-2, it's going to be side by side. Well, it's going to require a very determined bid from David Parsons, if that is the case, because Parsons is already on Mountain Straight going up towards the mountain, and Brock easing off the pace, and I can only say easing off the pace because that's what I think he's doing, because under normal circumstances and under racing conditions, Peter Brock would not be allowing all those cars to go past him. But he's a showman as well, and he likes plugging the product. He has enough edge over everyone else. He only has his backup car, the second of the dealer team cars, running in second. So with such a clear edge over the rest of the field, just having a look around, not running interference for anyone, and I would think that's certainly what is on Peter Brock's mind. Receiving a signal from the pits. The victory salutes have started already for Peter Brock. Coming up to GTX Bend for the final time. Just easing off the pace, still hanging back, looking for David Parsons, wherever David might be, but he's still well back, and unless Brock throws the brakes on and waits at the top of the mountain for him, because Parsons should be going past the pit area very shortly. Peter Brock, 0-5. Coming up through the cutting. They just wait for the reception that he'll receive on top of the mountain from all the fans that have assembled up there. They're waving us out. Look at the fans out on the hill waving the banners, the Australian flag. Go Commodore, go. Parsons just goes past the pit straight now, so Brock's going to do this one by himself. Acknowledging the cheers and moving off to the left-hand side of the road to allow those other cars still to continue uninterrupted, and I say that's exactly what Peter Brock's waiting for David Parsons to try and form up so they can go 1-2 across the mountain. And the crowd really giving Peter Brock a send-off. The last trip of the V8 Big Bangers, as they're called, the Group C touring cars, and Brock has done it again. 8 wins at Mount Panorama. I think the mayor of the city might even call this Mount Brock after today, because this man owns this course. Through Forest Elbow for the final time, acknowledging the cheers of the crowd, waving back to the marshals, Peter Brock. Comes down Conrod Straight for the final time. The Dayglow red and white V8 Commodore. It has run superbly all day here at Mount Panorama. All the rival pit crews leaning across the pit wall, ready to salute this champion. What a champion he is on this particular course. The final time. Brock still, I believe, waiting for Parsons. It'd be a tragedy if he fouled the plugs up and couldn't. But I think Peter Brock has got everything well and truly in hand. Here he goes over the hump, slowing down. It's going to be the slowest visit to the checkered flag ever for Peter Brock, and he is waiting on the inside. Here he comes. Don't say this wasn't orchestrated. A 1-2 for the dealer team. Peter Brock in 0-5 comes across the line to win the 1984 James Hardy 1000. Second place will go to his dealer teammate David Parsons in the number 25 car. And in third place, provisionally, will be Alan Moffat and Greg Hansford in the blue and white RX-7. Well done, Peter Brock. 8 in a row. And he's orchestrating where Parsons should park behind him. Well, Larry Perkins, delighted. Peter Brock's wife there also joining him at the celebrations. The last hurrah for Bathurst in the Group C touring cars, and a 1-2 for the